another nature workshop. My name's Rachel and I'm from Twinkl, and we use the Exploring Nature with Children curriculum to explore nature together. If you use that curriculum too, then you know that this week is all about senses. Now, people usually say we have 5 senses. Can you remember what they are? We've got sight, we've got smell, we've got taste, we've got touch, and we've got hearing. And those senses help us, well, make sense of the world around us, so they can be really helpful to use in nature exploration. However, not everyone can use all 5 senses. For example, some people might be deaf or hard of hearing, and so they can't hear the world around them in the same way that hearing people can. And for some of us, our senses might work, but the way that our brain organises those messages from our senses can kind of get a bit mixed up. Sometimes it can mean that everything feels too much, and sometimes it can feel like everything's too little. So for some of us, certain noises might really make our brain feel overwhelmed, or we might even have to make some of our own noises to help make us feel more comfortable. There are lots of different ways that our brains and our bodies can work, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's really important to make sure our nature studies are accessible. Accessible means that everybody, no matter how their body or brain works, can access the same places and the same systems and the same communities as everybody else. Now, it would be really silly if we said to people, well, no, your bodies and your brains have to change in order to come to this park. It would be really silly, wouldn't it? It's important to make sure that we remember that we don't expect people to change, but we expect the places and the systems and maybe our attitudes to change as well. So it's really important as you go about this week, especially as we're thinking about our 5 senses, to think about whether the places that you're exploring, the way that you're exploring, is that accessible to everybody, and how could you make that happen? And if there's anything in this video to do with our 5 senses that you find a bit too difficult, because for some people a senses walk might feel really hard, if there's anything in this video that feels a bit too much, just skip it and focus on the senses that make you feel more comfortable. Does that all make sense? We're saying sense a lot in this video, aren't we? Great, well, let's get exploring together. One of my favourite things to smell in the summer is the scent of freshly cut grass. I think it just smells of summer and it reminds me of being a kid. One of the things I don't like to smell, sweaty sandals. My kids have taken these off because they're running around using the sense of touch beneath their feet to feel the grass. We did that because as we were walking here and we had to cross quite a busy road, we noticed through our shoes that we could feel the pattern on the ground changing. A sense of touch could tell that something was different. As we got near the road, the ground was covered in regular bumps set out in a certain pattern towards the road. We've noticed that as well in railway stations. When you get near the railway tracks, they have a similar type of bumps there. Now that's because senses keep us safe. If we're able to use our senses, we can notice things that keep us safe or are unsafe around us. But if for some reason you have one of those senses that can't be used in the same way, then you have to rely on other senses to help you. So if you can't see very well and see that the road is coming, you can feel those bumps, and that's a sign to you that the busy road is there and it can help keep you safe. Can you think, first question, can you think of any things that are created to help keep us safe using our senses? So let me rephrase that. Can you think of any ways that our senses help keep us safe? Maybe go through each sense and see if you can think of a time where we rely on them to keep us safe. Does that make sense? Okay, that was the first question. Second question. I've already mentioned my favourite smell, but can you go through the 5 different senses and tell each other what your favourite one of those are? And if you've got time, maybe tell each other what your least favourite one of those are. So what's your favourite thing to taste? What's your least favourite thing to taste? My favourite thing to taste? There's a lot of things, but I'm going to say tea and biscuits. But my least favourite thing to taste is fish. I don't like the taste of fish at all. Okay, so that's the second question. Third question is thinking about the people around us. Can you use your senses to tell how people are feeling? Okay, not feeling as in how you touch them, but how they are feeling emotionally. Can we use our senses to figure that out? What do you think? It's time to connect with nature now, and so we've come to the park and we're using our wheels here to help us connect using our senses, but we're doing it a little bit differently. We're not doing a 3-2-1 challenge this week, but also not just looking for 5 different things to spot with our senses. We're looking for opposite pairs using each of those senses. For example, when we arrived at the park, we saw a tree that was really bumpy. We used our sense of touch to feel it. It was really rough and bumpy. So the challenge was to then find something using the same sense of touch that was the opposite. So we found a statue that was really smooth, and so we found an opposite pair using the same sense. Can you do that? Can you find 5 opposite pairs, each one using a different sense, to help you connect with nature? Have a go, see how you get on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Now, so let me show you some of the things that we got up to. We made these senses circles that we could carry around with us anytime we went out, and we could record what we'd found and divided up into the different senses. We also thought about how we could enhance our senses, so we made some binoculars. That was really simple but fun to do. Another thing we did is we thought about how we could feel the art that we created. So we looked at the picture that was suggested in the Exploring Nature with Children curriculum and then made our own collages from that, using things from around the house to be able to feel the art that we created. We've also used things that we can find in nature to make different art, and we stuck these on the window so that we could literally change the way that we saw the world outside. Whatever you get up to, have fun, and thanks so much for watching. See you next time.